So, welcome back, listeners, to Ancestral Voices We Belong. Thank you so much for coming back to join us. We are having a very special talk today with two very special guests and also friends. Ancestral Voices We Belong is committed to highlighting Indigenous, Caribbean, Black, and African voices who are in the creatives, in the creative arts, in the creative world, doing beautiful creative things and providing contributions in a unique way, because our culture never leaves us. And so when I think about that, I always think about the types of guests that we're going to invite on and how we embrace that aspect of who they are, because that's really what we're trying to highlight in doing this work. So today, I have the great honor of inviting two very special guests. Isaac Crosby is a longtime friend of mine who will introduce himself and talk a little bit about the work he does. And Ohima, my dear sister, she is doing some magnificent work that was absolutely mind-blowing to me. So I'm going to get them to call in, or I'm going to call them and get them online here so we can get to know not only who they are, but we get to hear a little bit about where they're coming from and how it is that they began the journey that they're on and what they're hoping to leave with us, to share with us. So I'm just waiting for Isaac to pick up the phone. And
Hello.
Hello, Isaac. Welcome to Ancestral Voices We Belong. I'm just going to loop Ohima in. If you can just hold on a second. Thank you. And I'm new to this, so hopefully I'll get better and better, but I'm working at it. I did a little test run before I got on here. And here we go. Hopefully Ohima picks up. And hopefully I've called the right person.
Hello.
Oh, hello, Ohima. Okay, I'm going to merge the two of you. Okay. All right, so we are on. Ohima and Isaac, welcome to Ancestral Voices We Belong. I'm so very happy to have you both here today.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I know the two of you.
Thank you for inviting.
Oh, you're so welcome. I know the two of you have met, but I'm not sure if our audience has met either one of you. Maybe some have. So I want to take an opportunity to invite you, Isaac. We'll start with you because I got you online first, to share a little bit about who you are. Introduce yourself to the listening audience, if you would, please.
I will. Everyone, my name is Isaac Crosby. I am mixed race. I am Anishinaabe, Ojibwa, and Black mix. So the black side, as you could say, Black mix, it comes from enslaved people from the United States and from Canada. I am a urban agriculturalist in Toronto. I love what I do. I teach about nature, and I just have fun making sure that everyone knows how to grow things naturally, properly, so we have great harvest and great food for our future generations.
Wow, that sounds amazing. And the word agriculturist, you said it so fast, it took me a minute to process it. I think maybe we might have to explain what an agriculturalist is.
Right, an urban agriculturalist, someone who grows food in the city or teaches other people how to grow food in the city, in your backyards and farm plots.
Right, agriculturist. Okay, Ohima, introduce the audience to who you are, please.
Yes, well, one, thank you for inviting me today, and I'm so grateful to be able to share space with Isaac as well. My name is Ohima Boateng. I'm the executive director of Black Creek Community Farm. I'm a proud Ghanaian, a longtime resident of the Jane and Finch community, and I'm a farmer. And my work stems from over a decade of organizing in urban agroecology, social justice, and food security here in Toronto.
Oh, thank you so much for that introduction. And, the listeners might be surprised to know that farming is going on inside of city limits. Who thinks about cities and farming? And we know that farmers feed cities, but we know that our kind of connection to farming in urban environments has a purpose. There's a calling that each one of you have embraced, and there's a reason why you entered that realm. And I celebrate the work that the two of you are doing. It's extraordinary that this is happening in a space that doesn't seem to be green at all. Like, where do you grow things? And when do you grow things? And how do people have access to those things? So maybe, Isaac, talk a little bit about what called you into the work that you're doing, and maybe share with us why you're doing that. What are you hoping to achieve through that?
Okay. Well, I've been a farmer all my life. Grew up on a farm in southwestern Ontario, and kind of walked away from it. You know how you become a teenager, you don't want to do that anymore. Don't want to do what your grandparents do or your parents do.
Right.
So walked away from it. Studied animal hospitality. I studied vet assistant and stuff like that. But came back to farming because it always called me no matter what I did. No matter where I went in this world, I farmed. I learned how to farm. So coming back to Toronto, I thought, you know what? I have a backyard here. I'm going to start doing my own little backyard plot. Started doing that. And then years later, I realized there's a whole community of people who do urban agriculture. And then for me, living in Toronto, I decided to go back to Humber. Studied at Humber, studied horticulture, became an apprentice, and then decided I want to take my shot and do what I know how to do best, which is to teach about Indigenous agricultural techniques, teach about urban farming, teach about farming, but do it where there's no chemicals. So I started doing that in about 2012 and never looked back, and just kept going forward. So for me, that happened to help me go to Brick Works, Evergreen Brick Works, work there, Green Thumbs Growing Kids, University of Toronto, and do certain gardens around the city, and to showcase all this Indigenous agricultural techniques, and to show people, like I said earlier, how to grow great food, great crops,
Yes.
and take care of the earth at the same time and prepare for the future. Because that's my main goal. My main goal is to make sure that the children, the youth, even some of the adult children, know how to grow proper food without chemicals. Because every time I go to a certain garden plot around the city, I'll always see some sort of chemical. I'm like, no, you don't do that. You're actually ruining the soil for future generations.
Right.
There are certain plants you can use that can be for fertilizer or for pesticides. We can go that route.
Yeah.
And it's working.
Yeah. You know, you're making me think about relationship to land. And in Indigenous realms, we're always talking about relationship to land. And we're talking about it as a living being, which we know to be true. And I think if you go around the world, all Indigenous people around the world look at the earth as a living being, as an entity who provides for us, but we need to be in relationship to her. And that relationship is ideally not to cause harm, right? So your stance on not using chemicals because there are alternatives is not commonly known today. And so I love that you went back to school to embrace not only this realm, but you did it with an intention of helping to upgrade what people know so that we know there's alternatives. There are other choices. And when it comes to farming, like what is a farmer? You know, what does a farmer do? And the very kind of linear stereotyped images of what farming and farmers do doesn't really fit the realm of urban farming and urban agricultural relationship building.
Right.
So I this brings me to Ahima and what she does, because she lives in an area of the Toronto region, because this is an Ontario based podcast. And so, you know, we're looking within our area sometimes for guests to come in. And the Jane and Finch area is kind of thought of as not the greatest area for many people. And it's very much a culturally embracing community with great diversity, but for people of color in that area who are struggling with lots of socioeconomic challenges, but still deserve to eat well and to feel well and to have a sense of connection to the earth as well. And maybe it's not from Canada itself, maybe it's from someplace else on the earth, but our plant relatives will grow anywhere. And having access to that, I think it does something to your blood memory. I think it helps to wake you up in some way and reinforce those connections. So, Ahima, do you want to talk about, you know, how you embrace some of that and why you do what you do? Because I'm not sure that many people know about the farm in the brilliance and diversity of what happens there.
Okay. I'm excited about this because I have a confession. I am and was a city kid. I did not grow up living in Jane and Finch. I didn't grow up with access to a farm or green spaces. Didn't have a backyard and all those kind of things. And so my understanding and my connection to food was very different than my mother's connection to food. She grew up back home in Ghana. We all immigrated here as refugees, but I was raised here in Toronto in Jane and Finch. And so I didn't have the same connection to land and food like my mother and her mother and her mother before that.
Yeah.
And so to this day, when I even say I'm a farmer, I also let people know I have an immense fear of bugs. So having that reality, it tells you how serious I am about this work. That I'm basing my fears on a daily basis. But it really all started when I was, I was a young mom, and I realized that certain things that I was doing to myself and it wasn't healthy, and it made me question a lot of things like perming my hair. And these are experiences a lot of young black girls go through growing up. And I started questioning what I was reading on those labels, and then questioning what I was seeing in the food I was eating, all because I brought a little one into this world and realized that there needed to be a level of awareness for myself so that I'm bringing my child into a better place. So when I realized I couldn't read majority of the ingredients in the food I was eating and all of that, it really made me realize, okay, I'm going to have to make them myself. And when I realized that there was even an issue of just getting access to organic ingredients, I was like, well, now I'm going to have to grow it myself. So I attempted with a tomato plant, and the former ED of Black Creek Community Farms, Ama Mponsa, was like, well, if you're doing this, you should check out a farm that's right here in the neighborhood. And I was like, what? No way. Like, I grew up here. I went to elementary school here at Shoreham Public School, middle school, Brookview. And I grew up here and had no idea that there was a farm that existed.
And it's a big farm, 8 acres?
It's a big farm, 8-acre organic farm. And it's a huge gem. And so I started off as a summer youth intern, and that really opened my eyes to what we now call food sovereignty and food justice work. I didn't know all these terms, but I was feeling the pressure and having these experiences, living in a community that has been deemed food insecure and a food desert. And so once I got into that role, I learned so much from the farmers there, from the community members, from the aunties and uncles in the neighborhood. I started the farm school program.
Yeah.
It just snowballs, yeah. I started the farm school program that we now have still running, where we coordinate field trips and plan children and family activities at the farm. I remember running 2 markets every week.
So it's not a closed environment. It's an open environment.
No.
Right.
Open
so people can come.
Exactly. Open environment, free for the community to come see, meet your farmers, talk to them, learn where your food comes from. Right?
I like that. Meet your farmer.
Meet your farmer. And that's a privilege you don't necessarily have, right?
Well, and the other thing, Ohima, is when people think of a farmer, they're not thinking of a female. They're thinking of a male, so come meet your.
white.
So is the the kind of gender appropriate term farmeress? Like, how do you use this term farmer to be inclusive? Right?
I like farmeress.
The farmer and the farmeress. No, but all joking aside, the work you're doing and the opportunities that you're providing and the open invitation to come and learn, to be a part of, to contribute is extraordinary in city limits. And what makes it super extraordinary to me is just the sheer amount of land that you have. 8 acres is vast in a city environment. And when we talk about food sovereignty and we talk about, you use this word food insecurity, I'd love both of you to weigh in on what that means to you, because food sovereignty becomes like this umbrella term, and some people approach it from different ways. And yes, everything fits under the umbrella, but what does it mean to you, Isaac, what does the word food sovereignty mean to you, and how does that resonate in what you're doing?
Okay. Well, for me, it's the ability to feed yourself, your loved ones, your community without any of the colonial paper or money. So being able to garden, to forage, to farm, to barter with your neighbors, right? And being able to actually feed yourself. Because food sovereignty also means to me that you're able to go out there and, like I said, forage. And not have to go to the grocery stores to buy your food. You can walk down to the local, your local forest or your local tree area, and maybe you're foresting for acorns or walnuts, or maybe you have pawpaw trees there. But you're able to feed you're able to feed your family. And you don't have to feed your family next to whatever the country rules are. By you have to go to the grocery store, you got to do this. No, you can actually have your garden in your backyard.
So let me pause you there.
You have your own security for your food.
Yeah.
Pause.
Let me pause you there. So foraging, is it safe in city limits? Because there's a lot of pollution. There's a lot of animals, dogs. Everybody has a dog. Is it safe to forage in the city?
I tell people, do your best not to forage in the parks, any parks, because you always have some sort of dog or cat, something going on. Certain areas in the city are great for foraging, I find. Like you go to the Don Valley, the Valley area, and stuff like that.
Right.
I'm not too concerned about the pollution.
Okay.
When it comes to foraging, because we are outside all the time, we're dealing with pollution every single day without masks on. Right. And one thing that Mother Nature knows how to do, she knows how to take these pollutants, and some plants know how to take it and make it into something beautiful.
Oh, that's exciting.
She will do her own phytoremediation for us, right? Take care of the chemicals.
Right.
And that's like our food. Like corn does that. Sunflowers do that. Strawberries do that, right? They all clean the soil for us from the pollutants.
And dandelions.
But which dandelions? The European dandelions or the native dandelions?
Oh, there's 2 types.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we have to do a whole show on the different types of plants.
Yes.
So you mentioned that, food sovereignty is about foraging, farming, and bartering, and this is a way of feeding yourself well and your family and your friends without money, right?
Yes.
The currency is love and respect for each other. And through that, we can maybe address what Ohima had explained about food insecurity in the area that she lives in. But for you, Ohima, what is food sovereignty? Like, how are you approaching it? It might be similar to Isaac, but do you have other things to share?
Yeah, it's very similar to Isaac. I would say the basis is that everyone has a right to access healthy, fresh, culturally relevant food. Like, it's your right to this food that speaks to your cultural diet. It's your right. And starting from that point, that it's a right, then everything after that should be in alignment with it. And you'll find quickly, just building off of what Isaac mentioned, that for those things to happen, we need to have more control over our food systems, which we currently don't have. Like, we saw the devastating impact during the pandemic and after, of people not having access to food, but our groceries, like our shelves were going empty.
Yeah.
And there were long lines, and a lot of us experienced a lot of anxiety during that time. But what came out of it was the proof that a lot of our food systems are very fragile, and we have very little control of how we can feed ourselves, our family, and our community.
This is so true. And you also used the term food deserts. Now, what is a food desert? Either one of you can weigh in on that.
Yeah, well, to start, for a community not to be seen as a food desert, your access to fresh food needs to be in walking distance.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And when you live in a community that is seen as a food desert, there may be food around, but it's not fresh food. So in Bain and Finch in particularly, we have an overwhelming number of fast food restaurants, processed food, but the access to fresh food is limited. So you'll find them in the large chain grocery stores, but those mom and pop shops, those farmer markets, you don't find them in the neighborhood that is walking distance within a kilometer. And so you find that a lot of people have to travel further just to have access to fresh food. But even further than that, just to access culturally specific food. And then we end up paying a premium for that, right?
of course. I mean, the cost of food has gone up exponentially post-COVID, and we know this to be very true. But in your work, Isaac, because you've worked around the city, are food deserts common?
Yes, they are. They are common in almost every city. Like in this city and every city I've been in, I've always seen food deserts. It's always in the low-income areas.
Oh,
And
this
usually those look like in those areas, like you said before, fast food chains,
right?
the liquor store, the beer store, right?
Yes.
Those are in those areas, but the fresh food are not. And the fact that people have to get on a bus, a transit, and go outside of their normal walking zone to get their food and carry it all back, right? I mean, we should have food markets or fresh food markets or fresh food convenience stores maybe every 5 blocks or something like that. That's
Right.
closer to home for these people.
Walkable.
That's walkable, and that doesn't cost a lot.
Right. So that sounds amazing. It sounds a bit like utopia. Not only should they be accessible and walkable, but the idea of having organic food, right? It sounds very bougie. It sounds, really out of most people's income or ability, to contribute specific money for food, because we know we're all on a budget, right? And if you're trying to buy organic, you're paying extra money. Yes, it's better for you. Yes, it's cleaner. Maybe it's got less chemicals on it. But the average person with a family trying to stretch a budget will choose what's affordable over what's actually healthy. And this really breaks my heart. And this is why I wanted to have a bit of a discussion about food sovereignty. And one of the ways that I think about approaching that is we all need to remember that we can grow things, right? We all need to grow. When I grew up, everybody had a garden. So things like lettuce and cucumbers and tomatoes, those are all grown in people's backyards. You didn't go to the grocery store to get that. You went to the grocery store to get the other things. Because most people didn't have a cow or a pig in their backyard that could go to slaughter if they're meat eaters, right? So today, as we think about food sovereignty, relationship to land, and addressing food insecurity and food deserts, how can we, what advice would you give to the listeners on how to begin this path to a bit of sovereignty and a bit of relationship to the land? What approaches could the average person take in their busy schedules and still have access to something that can contribute to the meals, to the wellness of who they are? How would you approach that? What advice would you give, Isaac, to a person who's thinking about that?
Wow. Okay.
It's a big question, I know. But say you were to give 3 ideas, because, I mean, we could talk endlessly about this, right? But to give people a sense of empowerment and a kind of remembrance that we all used to grow something. Whether you live in a condo or a house or a townhouse, whether you have lots of
You can still
windows or a
grow.
few windows, whether you have a balcony or
You
you
can
don't
still
have a
grow.
balcony, you can still grow. See, you're saying it. You can still grow. And most of us
You can
don't
still
think about
grow.
that. You can grow
No.
in all kinds of places, and you
Yes.
can forage in all kinds of places, right?
Yes.
So,
You can prepare. You can can for the coming seasons. By
ah,
getting stuff that's near the end of its cycle, or maybe it's fresh. You learn how to can it, learn how to jar it. When it comes to people who want
preservation.
to, when it comes to that, like when it comes to growing things for people who are low income and cannot do it, I get this question a lot. And I would say, you know what? You can start by growing sprouts. You can start by growing lettuce.
Yeah.
Start by growing some greens first. Those are the easiest things to grow.
And
At least
quick.
you know those are, and quick, and they'll give you a lot of nutrition.
Yeah.
Start that way first, and then as the season goes from winter, spring to summer, maybe now you have a bigger space. Maybe now you want to plant a tomato plant. You want to start going that route. Start small first. Start with sprouts. Start with greens. If you want to do radishes. But start there first. If you have a south-facing window, an east-facing window, west-facing window, perfect. Perfect.
That's
Start
empowering.
that way first.
Yeah. When I was at the farm, I bought a few plants that I grew, lettuce and on some tomatoes, and I tried to buy something that was unusual. It was a pepper I'm not used to eating, and it didn't grow very successfully for me. Probably I didn't give it enough TLC. But I know at the farm itself, you not only grow food, but you encourage people to grow food by offering plantlings. What else do you do to encourage people to have that relationship and maybe be their own teeny tiny farmers or farmeresses?
Yeah, great question. Well, one, it is 8 acres of land, and we pride ourselves in being a community farm. And so we have land allocated specifically for community members who don't have access to a backyard or their own growing space.
Right.
And so we're actually looking to expand that growing area for next year so that more community members can also participate in growing. We have a very long waiting list, which is a good and bad thing because it speaks to the demand and needing access to green space.
Yeah, let me pause you
Mhm.
there. Let me pause you there for 1 second.
Yeah.
So what you're
Mhm.
talking about is somebody can actually come and plant their own
Yeah.
things in a patch of land. And we're
Yeah.
seeing this a lot in the cities, especially under the hydro towers. That's green space that's not really being
Mhm.
used. So you're seeing a lot of community gardens pop up there because the demand is great and people do want to grow. And there's a great deal of trust there, right? Because you're
Oh
not
yeah.
sitting there watching your stuff. And not only will, other people, other humans maybe pass by, but animals pass by and have a little something as well. So I love that you have those spaces. I love that there's a waiting list because that means the interest is growing. But what
Mhm.
else? Like, what else can we do if we want to enter into the realms of eating food that we've grown ourselves, which is naturally organic, right? Because we're not putting chemicals and
Yeah.
pesticides on it, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure in your gardens, the encouragement is to use natural fertilizers and to be kind to the earth that you're engaging with.
Yes. We always look at like the principles that we apply when we are growing food is looking at things from a more regenerative agricultural lens.
Right.
Like Isaac mentioned before, certain things that we do can affect the land for future generations, and we keep that in mind when we're growing. But other things that we do that encourages food sovereignty or encourages people to just really just take up their excitement or interest in growing food is we run food preservation workshops through our Urban Harvest program, which teaches people how to pickle, can, dehydrate,
Nice.
create their own preserves so that they have access to that same food year round.
Mhm.
And we teach you how to store your food so it can last longer. Kim, you mentioned that it's hard for the average family to choose fresh food over something that has been processed
Yep.
because it costs more and it doesn't last as long on the shelf, right?
Right.
And so having a way, knowing how to store it properly, how to extend the shelf life, and how to prepare it in a way where you still keep the nutritional value of the vegetable or the fruit, is what we teach at the farm. So we don't just do the growing, but we also provide the education so that everyone's able to enjoy it in a more meaningful way.
I love that. And I love that you have the
Yeah.
tools there that community can access because the idea of dehydrating, who has a dehydrator? Who can afford one? You know, and there are many natural ways to dehydrate that I learned about too,
Exactly.
which I thought was super cool. And, you know, it just takes a little bit of creativity and a bit of screening and some wood and sunshine and it can dry. You know, you have to protect it obviously. But these are really inspiring and exciting. Entry into wellness is a choice. It's based on our free will. We have to choose to eat healthier. And we know that, you know, in the grocery stores, the weight of eating unhealthy is really promoted. So when you walk into a grocery store, you're walking into the things that are really not good for you. And the things that are good for you, you have to walk around and kind of work your way through that. I heard somebody say to me, when you go to a grocery store, only do the perimeter and you'll likely hit the good things and don't go down any of the aisles because that's where all the stuff that's not good for you is highly promoted, right? And then I'm thinking about, well, what about my own grocery store? You know, in the perimeter of my house are mostly windows. How can I maximize that space? And in school, I was introduced to gardening or encouraged to garden because we grew something, right? We all grew a sunflower, bean plant, something that grows quickly and is very rewarding. But some things take a little bit longer. And how practical is it if I'm growing lettuce on my shelf, right? Because lettuce you can't really preserve. And what I say to myself is, well, I'm eating it. It's right there in my face. I'll remember to eat it because it's in my face. But I loved, Isaac, that you talked about sprouting because definitely this is something that is highly embraced in the organic realms is to eat sprouts. And of course, with the whole juicing trend that's going on, everybody's throwing sprouts into their smoothies or shakes. And sprouts are not awful. There's a wide variety of things that you can eat that are sprouted and they come back really quickly and you can have cycles going. Does it have to take up a lot of room to have a few good things to throw in? And if you were to recommend a couple things to start with, give me three things, Isaac, and then he might give me three things that you would recommend.
To start with, for sprouting, I would say get yourself a mason jar. You can do sprouts in mason jars with a little bit of screen over top of it. Sprout your broccoli seeds. You can do cabbage seeds. You can also do corn seeds as well. It's corn sprouts. Ooh. But the only thing with corn sprouts is that corn has to be sprouted in the dark. It can't be sprouted in light. So your corn will end up white. It has a really strong corn taste.
Okay.
Or another thing, if you don't have a mason jar, if you have any of those takeout containers, punch a hole in the bottom of it, get a paper towel, maybe you want to soak it wet, or get some soil, put some sprouts on there, and there's your sprouting container.
Just like that.
Put it in the window, you're good. Yep.
And how quickly could we get our reward?
Ooh, you'll get sprouts within a week.
Oh my gosh. And then you can just repeat it.
For you. Yeah, I'd say wait 2 weeks, repeat it again.
But where do you get the sprouting materials?
You can buy your mason jars you can go to secondhand stores if you want to. If you have any leftover spaghetti jars, if you have any screen or that'll be easy.
But the seeds.
Or get the seeds.
Yeah.
Eat the seeds so I would go to I go to Urban Harvest for seeds, West Coast Seeds online.
So if you
don't have a lot of money, I bulk order, or you can go to Dollarama and buy the seeds there if you want to. If you don't have enough money to buy seeds from these other companies,
right?
So, or go to Black Farm. Talk to your farmers. Maybe do some seed saving. Maybe talk to people who are doing seed saving, stuff like that. Right?
Amazing.
Get out there and get into it because it will save you. It will honestly save you in the long run.
I love that. Ohima, 3 plants you think people should grow?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you better now.
Okay.
I will also add that something that we do at the farm that we have our young people, our youth, really excited about is growing mushrooms.
Mushrooms?
So, yeah, and that's another quick turnaround as well. Now, I'm not a mushroom grower, so I can't give all the tips about it, but we have an amazing team, Nature Farmers, at BCCF that does workshops on how you can start your own, how you can grow mushrooms indoors. And they've been trying different methods from growing it in containers and logs, and it's been very successful and very nutritious and delicious. So I would also add some mushrooms into that. So,
I'm surprised to hear that because, people are always, there's mushroom lovers and mushroom haters, and there's usually an extreme when it comes to that. But I know that mushrooms are full of nutrition and they are quite easy to grow, and they're not light dependent, are they? No. They like the dark. The moist darkness. Yeah. So they become the great unknown, and then there's a little bit of fear associated with that, right?
Yes.
Anytime you talk about mushrooms and growing mushrooms, what kind are you growing, and are they safe? And but growing anything is safe. It's important. It's really important. I always get frustrated when spring arrives and everybody's rushing around to pluck out all their dandelions. And we know that dandelions only appear if the soil needs remediation. It needs help. So they're helpers. Yep. And they're also the first food source for many animals that have struggled through a long, cold winter, and they need that nutrition. And so, again, we're reinforcing maybe an education about relationship to the land and why we should just be a bit more tolerant maybe about what appears and why it appears. In my Anishinaabe background, I was taught that the plants you need most are the ones that will find you. They'll grow near you. If you're staying in one place for a while, and some of those are medicine, some of them are nutrition. But also another way for plants to get to know you is to introduce a bit of your DNA to them. So maybe a little snippet of your hair, or a little bit of your saliva. And this might sound strange to people, but I've met so many people who say they put the seeds in their mouth and then they put them in the ground. And so what grows?
I do. I do that.
I've never tried that. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I do that.
It's how the plant knows what you need, because they can tell from your DNA, your saliva, what's missing. So if you're growing your own garden, the intimacy of that relationship is there already. Sometimes people put a bit of their hair in with something. So for a tree, like I would probably put my hair in so that I have that connection always, and they know who I am and I know who they are. But do you have any other cultural insights to planting that might be kind of cool to hear? Because I just surprised you, Hima, with the saliva and the seeds. But I love it. I mean, anybody can do that, right? You don't need to be fancy about that. You don't need to be totally understanding genetics or anything. You just put it in your mouth and put it in the earth. Boom.
Yep.
Can you think of
Always.
anything?
I was taught that as well from my grandparents. So taking the seeds and putting it in your mouth, or just taking your spit and let the seeds soak in your spit for a while, for 6 hours. So it begins to germinate, and then it will take in your DNA as it's germinating.
Wait, you're holding a seed in your mouth for 6 hours and not swallowing it?
Oh, not me. Oh. Not me. I'm sorry. I'll be spitting in a cup. And I'll take the seed, put the seed in the cup, and I'll walk out, and I will walk away. I'm not holding that seed in my mouth for 6 hours. Because trust me, it's either going to get spit out or swallowed. Something's going to happen. Or it's going to get chewed. Something's going to happen, right?
That's
so
really cool.
Another great thing is actually getting out there and talking to your plants. Talk to those sentient beings. Introduce yourself to them.
Yes.
Let them know who you are.
Yes.
Take time to, if you meditate in your garden. They need that connection as well. Because you'll do the whole physical with your spit, but now it's time for your spiritual and mental. So you got to talk to them, touch them.
Yes.
That's another okay.
Yes.
Acknowledge them.
I was told in foraging, if you don't have a relationship to those plants, you won't even be able to see them. They're just able to hide from you, because you have to earn that relationship. You have to earn their trust, because they're giving up life for you. Yep. And so you need to show that humility and that thankfulness and that kindness. You can't come with greed.
Yeah.
But I
They
love
want,
that you said, go and spend time with them, talk to them. I think that's the secret to a green thumb. That
Definitely.
it highlights how to have relationship with another sentient being. If you just sat
hmm
with your friends and never spoke, never hugged, never visited, are they really a friend? And food should be our friend, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It does remind me of an initiative I did with some youth during the pandemic where I had them growing um, pea shoots. So that's a
Oh,
microgreen that you can grow indoors.
hmm
It takes about 10 to 12 days to
hmm
fully mature. And the great thing about it is that you can get a few more cuttings after the first harvest.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
And something I connected to the growing of the food was the more spiritual side of things, where the youth were supposed to recite their own affirmations to the plant.
Ooh.
I
We watched
love
a
that.
video. Yeah, we watched a video of how even the water composition and how
hmm
plants grow are affected by the words we use, the frequency that we're on, and the
Yes.
energy that we emit, right? And
hmm
so
Yes.
they were expressing, really positive affirmations during a time that was really, really stressful for them and their families. And the growth that they saw with their pea shoots within that time frame was record.
Oh my
I
So
gosh.
love it.
it was an amazing experiment to do, and I highly recommend it. So thanks for bringing that up, Isaac.
Oh, well, that
I
brings
love
us, I
that.
love it too so much. It brings us to one of the Anishinaabe cultural teachings about relationship to water and how water is life, and that we can
Yes.
change it at a molecular level by thoughts, by good
Yes.
words, by songs.
Yes.
And if the water's good, then the plant's going to thrive and survive just like humans
hmm
will, because we
hmm
reinforced and embraced our relationship to what sustains and maintains life. This has been just the most remarkable conversation with two very remarkable people. Um, if people
Thank you.
wanted to reach out to
Yeah.
you, Hema, and find out, what's going on, because of course you want people to come, but also to support you, where could they reach out to you?
Yeah. Well, one, I would say definitely check out our website, blackcreekfarm.ca. We're also on social media, on Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever, all the websites,
All the
Facebook,
socials,
all the
Facebook.
socials. We're there. And if you visit our website and you sign up for a newsletter, then all the events, community events that we have that are free and open to the public, you'll get to be the first to know about it. The workshops, the programs, all the great stuff that happens at BCCF, you'll get those monthly newsletters. So that's
That's
a great
amazing.
way to find us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do sign up. Do sign up. Do find out what's going on there. Do become a supporter. I've come to some of your events and it's so rewarding. I feel like my body, my mind, and my spirit get filled up, not just my belly,
Mm-hmm.
because you always have food, but there's just something about connecting to the truth and seeing people who look like you, in spaces and
Mm-hmm.
places that most people don't think about us in relationship to, which is so strange to me, when we look at history, but it's beautiful.
Right.
And I congratulate you on the remarkable work you continue to champion and
Oh,
the
thank
way that you
you.
reach out. I don't know how you have time to do it all, but you are certainly an inspiration and an amazing mentor to people, young people and older people and in-betweens, and also newcomers, so that they can
Mm-hmm.
feel a sense of connection still to the spaces and places that are now new homes to them,
hmm
and bringing those transplants and bringing those connections and foods to life because they've grown it here. So thank you so much
Yeah.
for continuing to support that. Isaac, if people wanted to
Yeah.
reach out to you or connect to what you're doing, do you have a way to
Yeah.
share? Yeah.
All right. So you can look for Isaac Crosby on Instagram.
Woohoo.
You can look for Brother Nature. That's my brand on Instagram.
Brother
And
Nature?
also Brother Nature. That's who I am. and also, you can also look for Crosby Get Again, which is my family little farm we have, little farm plot at Melbourne Urban Farm.
Can you
Crosby
spell
Get
it?
Again. Sure can.
Yeah.
So Crosby, my last name, Crosby.
Mm-hmm.
Get Again, meaning garden plot or farm. Get Again. Gitigagan.
Great.
Gitigagan. Get Again. That's Crosby Get Again. And yeah, go to Instagram, go to Facebook. We're on there. And this month, next month is December. We're going to be in the National Geographic travel magazine.
Oh, so cool.
And what are they highlighting?
So it's a destination. The Destination magazine. A UK writer came over. She saw an article I was in. I'm forgetting the article now. She got a hold of me. She came over. She saw the farm plot and wanted to talk about Crosby Get Again and Melbourne Urban Farm and make it a destination to come to in Toronto.
Amazing. Just absolutely amazing. Congratulations. We'll look
Thank
forward to that article.
Okay, cool.
So, the intersections are surprising. Yeah. And there's room for inclusion and highlighting.
Yeah.
I know I joined a group on Facebook called Black Farmers, and I was so surprised how vast the contact is, because it's across our whole island, which is North America. Turtle Island is now been renamed North America. But in that space and place, farming seems to be on the rise rather than disappearing, because people are looking at that food sovereignty. They're looking at diminishing food deserts. They're trying to address food insecurity in a way that is approachable and affordable and practical. And I think the two of you today really highlighted that it is accessible. You can do this. You don't need an invitation. You don't need permission. Just do it. Is there any last words or any final thoughts you'd want to impart to the listeners so that they can leave better than when they came, inspired and ready to go? Isaac, you first.
Well, what I say to people is this. All of us, no matter where you came from on this place we call Earth, we all come from agricultural people. We all come from farmers. So if you tell me you don't know how to farm, I will help you reconnect to your past to show you know how to farm. Just you got to take it with baby steps. That's all. So start small, and you'll end up big.
Maybe, or you'll just end up the right size you need, right? But the point is, you'll have something rather than nothing.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
And I think that's important, right? We're becoming bigger and bigger city dwellers and more disconnected from the natural world. And even in city environments, they might plant the odd tree, they might have the odd plant, but more and more of the plants are plastic. Keep real trees, keep real plants. They clean the air. They do lots of things.
Exactly.
Keep it real.
Keep it, yeah. I love that, Isaac. Keep it real. All right, Hima, what's something that you want to share?
Well, just building off of what you said, I think, I would encourage everyone to definitely come check out Black Creek Community Farm, your neighborhood farm. It's a beautiful gem. It's open year-round, and it's really meant for community, a space for healing and connection, and we're using the land and food to do so. So it's an 8-acre farm, and it's there for you.
Right.
And it's led by us.
It's open in the winter, Hima?
We're going to be closed for the month of December,
right.
But we still run field trips starting February.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, the two of you have been keeping it real in the whole conversation. And I have to say, I'm truly inspired and honored by not only the work that you do, but the calling that you honor. It is important for us, to bring things full circle. And I always feel like food is the connection to the past, the present, and the future in a physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional way. And we can never give that up. We can never get separated from that. And I never want to be separated from the work that the two of you are doing. So thank you so much for keeping it real. Thank you so much for sitting with us on Ancestral Voices We Belong. And I hope that listeners take time to rewind how to reach out to you, and they do connect to you, and you are able to connect to them as a result of not only being on this podcast, but because you continue to champion the work that needs to be done. Each one of us has to take back control of our health and our wellness, because wealth comes from good health first and foremost, right? So be well, everybody. Be well to the two of you. Thank you again. Have a great day.
You too as well.
And take good care.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, everyone.
Thank you, Miigwech. It was amazing.
Nahau, Bamapi.
Bamapi.
So that was Isaac and Ojibwa sharing their hearts, sharing their truth, really inspiring us to remember who we are and what food sovereignty is about. How can we address it? What can we do? And their advice, both of them, was to start small. Just put something in a pot. Just give it some TLC. Give it water that you've spoken to. Really take time to acknowledge that not only are you able to do these things, but you should be taking time to teach others, especially our wee ones. Let's get back to growing. Let's get back to guerrilla gardening and throwing good seeds into public spaces so that we have real plants instead of plastic plants. I mean, I'm a real champion about the natural world and what is possible and what we are responsible for. The earth is continuously responsible to us, and she continually gives to us regardless of how we treat her. So maybe we can all just collectively agree to treat her better. I'm doing my best. Are you? I'm sure you are. So I want to close up this talk about food sovereignty with a thank you to our sponsors, because none of this would be possible without the support of community. Teamwork makes the dream work always. But Neighbor Media makes this possible for us and really upholds a high standard of delivery. Of course, the town of Aurora is the one who really pushed us forward and said, please do this. We want to hear the voices of the people. And Palomino Law continues to support community in all of the various ways that they're able to do that. So do reach out to them if you're looking for some kind of support in the area of law. And of course, the Wholesome Conscious. The Wholesome Conscious feeds us and reminds us that health is wealth. And so I thank all of the sponsors. If you're interested in sponsoring us, we'd love to have you join the team. And we're also available on the socials. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we welcome your comments. We welcome stories that you'd like to hear about, ideas for that. So be generous. Share what you'd like to hear we're doing in our world as Black, Indigenous, African, and Caribbean creatives. Thank you again. Miigwech, for listening to Ancestral Voices We Belong. Please like and follow us as much as you're able to, and encourage somebody else to join us as well. Till next time, be well. Bamapi. Thank you. Bye-bye.